Livly is a complete ecosystem. It's a robust platform with very modular, customizable solutions. So the core of it is our resident experience app. We've built tech that does what it says it does. So there's no vaporware. Anything that we talk about, anything that we demo, anything that we show is live in the wild and being utilized. You can ask centralization to 5 different people and get 5 different examples. You can ask integrations. You can ask sentiment. You're going to get different answers, different solutions.
Okay, we're here with David Shaw from Livly. David, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, it's really great to meet you guys. So I'm the president and COO of Livly. I've been at Livly about 3 years. I've been in the PropTech space since roughly 2017. I come from a background, non-traditional background. I spent 10 years at Starbucks before I made the move over to startup world, but I realized this was the place for me and no looking back. I just love building companies and cultures and people, process, product, the old formula.
Yeah, great. So give us the elevator pitch on Livly for those that don't know you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Livly is a complete ecosystem. It's a robust platform with very modular, customizable solutions. So the core of it is our resident experience app. It's the same thing you would expect to see. A resident can come in, they can pay their rent, they can submit a maintenance ticket. Livly has either partnered or home-brewed some best-in-class solutions where it's made sense. So things like amenity reservations. We have a resident onboarder, so a move-in flow that schedules everything from move-in amenities, paying first month's rent, a move-in checklist, all of those pieces. And then we have a sort of walled garden community feed. So you have to be a resident in the building rather than like the Facebook groups that sort of run amok through the industry. This is just residents. It's AI moderated. It's a really great chance to drive connection and community through groups, property manager feed, all of those pieces. And then we have all the resident services that you would expect, the ability to get home cleaners, get a TV mounted, pet care, all of those pieces. And so that's sort of our cornerstone. But coming off of that, we have a fully embedded site team hub. So property managers, facility managers can all operate out of Livly to manage maintenance tickets, to manage chat with residents, to send welcome emails, mass communications, all of those pieces. The nice thing about it is that everything that we bring into the Livly ecosystem gets aggregated into this platform, and we find that really becomes a one-stop solution for most of our customers where they can have access to the data that's going to drive their analytical decision-making. And when you have aggregated data, it also allows for some automation and some optimization. And so we can take some of those daily tasks off of property managers' plates through our aggregations and really just create a streamlined, efficient operation. Then the last piece that's modular is our access control and smart home IoT. And so through the Livly app, your Livly app smartphone device can be the key to your common area, the key to your unit door, your access key for guests and family visiting, vendors, integrations with intercom systems to get people through the front door, answer video calls from the front door, all of those pieces in one unified operating system.
That's interesting. So are you more additive, like a new GL line item, or are you typically replacing some other GL line item that they already have?
Yeah, so it's a combination. We work with our wonderful partners at Yardi, RealPage, Entrata, Appfolio, all the big PMS systems. We sort of provide a modern UI, UX superficial layer above that with two-way communication and integrations. And so we're additive in that sense at a very cost-effective per unit monthly rate. And then through the solutions we've built with community feed, with amenity bookings, with move-in flow, we can then displace or replace other additive point solutions that the site team has maybe brought on, in addition to our full circuit offering, which is resident events and fitness. And so we really can drive end-to-end solution for what happens day to day in property management operations.
That's interesting. I'm thinking about you had me when you talked about community. My mind is just going almost like next door for a property. Is that fair for that aspect of it?
Absolutely, 100%. Yep.
And then do you guys end up having any kind of cold start problem where it's like you come on site, it's like there is no next door yet. Therefore, now there's no chatter. And I'm just curious how that develops over time.
We actually don't. So we've implemented some systems. We have a product line called Experiential Property Management, or XPM. And through that, we sort of kickstart engagement through the community, through polls, through posts, through surveys, trivia, all of these things that just sort of bring people to the community feed. And it also ends up being the primary communication channel from site team out to residents. It is by far, from day one, our most used feature within the app is our community feed.
Wow, that's I wouldn't have guessed. That's fascinating. So I like the pre-start. Is there like almost like a critical mass where it's like if a property is 50 units, not a good fit, versus like over 100 units?
We find that we have the most impacts at like 125 to 150 and above.
Okay.
But our solution, being rooted in sort of a strong economic value and being so modular, fits from every property size to every asset class. So workforce, student, senior, Class B, Class A, Class A++, ultra luxury. We really run the gamut. We can tailor a solution to an entire portfolio.
Wow, that's great. Well, Reed, I know this is usually when you hit someone on their ROI or KPIs.
Yeah, you mentioned that offline, so I want to bring that back.
Yeah.
But what makes unique within this genre? Because we're hearing more and more about these end-to-end like resident solutions. And so, what's the pitch? And that will eventually move me. I'm just going to squeeze this in, but to how much your product development is based on the end user versus the operator. But let's start with within this genre or class of tech right now in real estate, what would you say is your biggest unique?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been around since 2016. We've been building tech since day one with bi-weekly releases, and we are really the first true enterprise-grade resident experience operating system. And what that has allowed us to do is we've built tech that does what it says it does, right? So there's no vaporware. Anything that we talk about, anything that we demo, anything that we show is live in the wild and being utilized. And because we have such strong functioning tech, we have incredibly high adoption and utilization metrics. If we say the industry average is 50% download and 25% engagement across a property, Livly is sitting at 90% downloads and greater than 70% monthly active users on the resident side.
Wow.
And greater than 70% monthly active users on the property manager side. More than 40% of our site team users are classified as power users, meaning that they're in the platform multiple times a day. And why I think that's unique is that everybody is talking about operational efficiencies and talking about reducing costs to drive NOI, particularly with sort of the distressed capital markets the last couple of years. And I think an interesting wrinkle to NOI is the concept of ROI, right? If you're putting money into your property, but it's not being utilized or it's not driving the outcomes that you intend it to be, you're really just letting some NOI sneak out the back door. And so having a robust platform that functions the way that it's supposed to, that does things that are meaningful to on-site operations and resident experience, every dollar that you put into Lively, you're getting a 10x return through resident sentiment, through property management satisfaction, reduced churn in the site team, and we see upwards of 20% impact to renewal rates for residents in a community that use Lively versus those that don't.
That's huge. How do you normalize that picture? Because I think about all the other things that right now are hitting owners and that they're exploring and experimenting with. So when you talk about the 20% lift and the ROI element, do you help them with that as far as like trying to, baseline and...
Yep. Yeah, one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we get, and this is a credit to Brenda Barvey, our VP of Customer Success, and the Customer Success team, our overall Net Promoter and customer satisfaction levels are off the charts, and the biggest piece that we get is the actionable data that we provide. So we are one of the few companies that send out monthly reporting. We make ourselves available for monthly and quarterly business reviews with the site team and with the corporate staff. And so on a regular basis, we're highlighting the impact that Lively is having on that property in very real and tangible ways.
That's fantastic. I have one more question. I'll flip it back to David. But on that note, we hear a lot in different ways about tech and the data that it's supplying and empowering ownership groups, with. Do you guys offer that as a service, like meaning an analyst to say, hey, we can take this off your plate and give you some of those recommendations ourselves, or is it mostly, the burden's
Yeah, so we've tried to avoid, positioning ourselves as a magic bullet solution. We have an incredible data and analytics team headed by Rachel Blake at Lively that offers sort of a choose your own adventure. So we have one of the first features that we built was a robust reporting center where at any time, any day, anybody can go in and they can download some of the typical reports, or they can custom build reports for what they want to see in the property. But then we also have our analysts that can run custom reporting, and what we provide on a monthly basis is very unique to that specific property's problem sets and use cases that they've shared with us. Our customer success team is in regular communication with our customers and understanding what their challenges are, what their fears are, and we are really trying to be the light in the dark on how they get to their NOI targets.
I feel like, did Trevor prep you with like any of our buzzwords?
No, not at all.
Because you get one more and you hit a bingo.
Oh, wonderful.
You got vaporware, you got choose your own adventure. So let's
Those are some of David's favorites.
Yeah, they really are.
But I love all the insights that you're mentioning. And I just read the book, The Lazy CEO. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it talks about the mafia offer, of what customer can't refuse. Like how can you make an offer they can't refuse? And I would think some of this is like, in fact, those analytics and the insights that you're bringing into them, because the more that you deliver that, the stickier it becomes.
Exactly.
Like I just would never, and depending on the cost model, that could be your mafia offer.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that we offer tremendous value for our price point relative to anybody else in the space. And I think that our data and our support, I think the barrier to entry, just because of how much noise there is in the industry, the idea of buzzwords doesn't just stop at this table, right? You can ask centralization to 5 different people and get 5 different examples. You can ask integrations. You can ask sentiment, right? You're going to get different answers, different solutions. And so I think sort of cutting through that noise and being really intentional and impactful with our storytelling has been an area of big growth for Lively through 2023 into 2024. Our marketing team has really spearheaded efforts to not try and boil the ocean. We built a very robust platform in 2016, and we were solving a lot of problems that site teams didn't know they had in the moment. Our business was built on sort of tip of the spear, early adopters of technology, and we are
got
now
the bingo.
What,
yes.
tip of the spear?
Tip of the spear.
I don't say tip of the spear that
I've
often.
heard you say tip of the spear. Sorry.
That's all right. That's right. And so now that the idea of resident sentiment, resident experience, operational efficiencies, and NOI optimizations are becoming more commoditized, right? It's not just the top 10 NMHC focusing on these problems at scale. It's now coming through the rest of the market. We've been well positioned to capture all of those sort of fish in our net. But what we've had to do is really water down a little bit of our solution and what we do, because we do a lot, and it can be a lot to consume in a 60-minute demo call.
Yeah, totally. Well, you had mentioned, as we wrap up here, I know we're almost out of time, but you had mentioned that you're on a circuit now to sort of like maybe just talk about that and what you want people to remember and take away from Lively.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been at a couple conferences already this quarter. I did the IMN circuit. Obviously, the big headline concern is around capitalization and sort of the back-end funding of properties. But hearing more mid-market operators talking about ways to increase operational efficiency as a way to reduce costs and drive profitability being critical for 2024, right? The banner headline is survive 24 to thrive in 25, right? And so I think everybody is sort of leaning into that. And my big takeaway is, as you're looking at NOI, like, just don't forget to close the back door on that NOI sneaking out through ROI losses, right? Everybody's committed to putting money into their units to get the most rent and highest occupancies that they can to deliver on their pro formas as required. And there's a lot of things just sort of sneaking out where you're putting, $1 here, $2 there, $3 there into a unit, and it's not being utilized by your site team. It's not being utilized by your residents. And so you can't really say that you're getting any impact to your property operations. And so I just sort of come back to the high adoption, high engagement that Lively creates from the resident to the vendor to the site team, and clear visibility of data and performance all the way up to the top of organizations through our portfolio management views.
So for most customers, as you were saying in the mid-market, is that more of a reduction of labor needed, or is it like consolidation of tech stack, as you're saying, different systems that they spend per unit, or where do most commonly people find those savings?
The people that I've talked to the most are trying to hold off on the reduction of headcount lever as long as possible. These are people that truly love their employees, they love the teams that they're building, they want to create opportunities for growth and advancement, and so they're really trying to emphasize ways to allow them to work on to do the work that is most critical and most impactful to their property or their portfolio's success. And so rather than reduction of headcount through centralization, it's more about playing to people's strengths, right? Understanding what your team is, understanding that, it's a lot easier to get 80% property manager portfolio or population that really enjoys talking to residents and being the mayor of the building and driving the sentiment, rather than maybe some of the financial reporting or some of the nitty-gritty that goes into the back end of running a building. And so creating a system that can take some of that off their plate through automation or through outside support and allowing their teams to drive effectiveness through playing to their strengths really seems to be the big question that everybody's asking.
So is the theory there then, if you remove the minutia from them or things that they don't like doing and let them do the things that energize them, that it will result in maybe it's either higher rent or better renewal rates, things like that?
Absolutely, yep. And I'm a huge advocate of, or against switching costs and operational costs. And when you're having to log into 6 or 7 different platforms on the back end and you're having to switch to 4 or 5 different hats on a daily basis in your job, it's just really hard to get the flywheel going that drives that efficiency and drives that momentum. So anything Livly can do to reduce the number of hats that a leasing manager or a maintenance supervisor or a property manager has to put on throughout a day, and reduce the number of platforms they have to go into to find answers or make decisions, we feel like we're adding tremendous value to overall portfolio health.
That's great. Well, David, if people want to learn more about Livly, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, our marketing team has been doing a fantastic job of publishing blogs on a regular basis. Everything can be found at our website, www.lively.io. You can find everything about Livly. You can book a sales demo. You can connect with anybody on our team there.
Great. Well, thanks, David.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
All right, now we'll talk about RETCon real quick. So have you been here before?
This is my first time.
Okay, ours too. So this will go on their feed.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how they're going to use it. I think they'll use it to promote future RETCon. So I know it just started, so you haven't really seen much. So we'll just talk about what you're hoping to achieve here. Yeah. Were you at happy hour yesterday?
I was.
Okay, so then we'll just maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. I think I can be most impactful sort of speaking through my decision making to invest in this conference.
That's great. I like that. Okay, cool. Okay, this is David and Reed from Digital here with David Shaw from Livly at RETCon. So David, RETCon just kicked off.
Yeah.
What brought you here?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I stepped into the COO role at Livly last year and then the president role this year, really trying to find opportunities to get our product and our value propositions in front of the right decision makers. And so my new VP of marketing and I went through the full conference schedule with the support of sales and really identified what some opportunities were. Livly had participated at RETCon a number of years back and had taken a few years off where we'd focused on some of our larger tentpole, OpTech, Apartmentalize, AIM conferences. But as I was exploring RETCon this year, and saw the lineup of speakers and saw the companies that were going to be exhibiting and the people that were going to be coming as attendees, it really just seemed like it was a very intimate conference, but with key decision makers at our ICPs, right? And so in terms of bang for buck, it was one of those conferences where I knew I needed to be here, and our original plan was just for me to attend as an attendee, meet with people, have some meetings scheduled, and then we quickly saw the upside, and so now Livly is the official co-sponsor of the multifamily happy hour tonight. We've got a booth in the exhibition hall. I've brought 2 additional salespeople with me to the event today, all in the name of just maximizing the opportunity to be in front of really the high-level decision makers at the companies that we want to get Livly in front of. and having such a concentrated number of those decision makers was really unique differentiator of Redcon.
Awesome.
I just want to ask a quick question. I mean, we have our own version of this when we go to conferences, but what do you either anticipate or already know might be your biggest objection here with Redcon? As you're in front of the right people,
Yeah.
Where do you hit the first roadblock?
Yeah, I think as I've been on this conference tour this quarter, one of the challenges, vendors such as Lively and the other vendors in our space, we're sort of the side dish to the main meal, where it's a lot of brokers and capital and finance and operators coming together to broker deals. And so really just trying to get that sliver of attention and that little bit of time away from the main purpose that most of those decision makers are here for, to engage in that conversation. And as I've alluded to, Lively is a lot to consume in a 60-minute demo, and so trying to really crystallize in 15 minutes what we can do and how we can solve problems that they're facing is probably going to be the biggest fear that I have walking away from a conversation or a meeting, having missed an opportunity to really connect the dots for the person across the table.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Great.
Based on our conversation, though, I'm sure you'll crush it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll knock on wood for that
Use
one.
some of your stage acting background.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
If you have to resort to it, you can just do a jig or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That might draw some attention.
Yeah,
to
put a Shakespearean monologue out there or something. Exactly. At least go viral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go Othello on them.
That's right.
We had another interview with Rebecca from Elise AI, and she was saying that their speaker used to do freckle face on Broadway.
Oh, wow.
And so, you got some competition.
That's right.
You're in good company.
Yeah, I'll have to up my game a little bit, it sounds like.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you,
Wonderful.
David.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much. This was great.
Yeah, appreciate it.